objects, please make sure it is completely turned off. I'm going to use mine as a clock. But other than that, I hope basically it goes away. As usual, we're going to do several things tonight. We'll start out with a guided meditation. So I'll do an hour of guided meditation. If you're not used to sitting cross-legged on the floor, I guarantee you'll be in agony by the end. So you might want to start out getting, getting in a chair instead of being seated cross-legged. Just a warning. Um, We'll do that for an hour. In my guided meditations, you are welcome to do, they're just all suggestions. You don't have to, thank you, Sam, listen to any part of it if you don't want to. Just the only requirements are that you sit quietly. Just sit quietly. But of course, you're welcome to follow along. I'm leading a guided experience. And after an hour of that, I will probably give some kind of talk, and then we'll have Faiza bring the microphone around to anyone who wants to talk and share their experience or report or ask a question or whatever. Okay, so we'll do that. And then at the very, very end, we'll have like a 5-minute silent sit, and to be followed by going and doing the tea thing, right? It's free, super nice tea, and we can all hang out and commune in the community and talk to each other and so on. Okay? So that's the program for tonight. So, you guys ready? How many people are new? Raise your hand. Never been here before. Wow, lots of new folks. Well, welcome. We always enjoy welcoming new people into the space. So hopefully this will be a nice introduction. Let's begin, as usual, with some movement together. I'm going to start out in a slightly different order. I want you to just sit for a moment and feel into your body. So, in a very simple way, just feel your body sensations. Don't think about your body, you're not imagining your body, you're just feeling stuff. And tuning inwardly to body sensation. Okay? And then from there, I'm going to start leading some very simple movement, but my body is different than your body, so don't do anything you don't want to do, or do whatever version of what I'm doing that seems to make sense for your body. The first thing I'm going to do is suggest that we do one of these, breathing in, and then don't hold your breath. Continue to breathe while your chest is expanded. We want to get a lot of space into our chest. Deconstructing your self-style meditation is really a lot about opening up into space, and so we're opening up our physical body into more space, inviting more space in, and let's lean over and get more space in the side here. Breathing in, remember to keep breathing, we're not holding our breath. And just feel those side ribs and the whole area in there opening up. And then we'll come up and sit here for a moment, feeling your body. Make sure you accidentally smash your neighbor's nose. And then come this way. Oh! I recommend never getting older. It's a dangerous path. But breathe some space into those side ribs and into that part of your rib cage and into your body and into your being. Okay, and then come up. And then we'll go like this. Just breathe for a minute again, space, space, space. And then on an out breath, go down and open up that lower back. Oh. Okay. That one is always exquisite. Breathing into the lower back feels really good. Now, doing everything out of order, we're going to do the get up and get down thing, which is not Elmo with the letter of the day. It's actually physically getting up and then getting on the ground, and then getting up off the ground, and then getting back on the ground again, any way you want. Okay, the whole point is to stand up and then get on the ground and then stand up several times. Okay, so you can do this in any way you want. But lay down basically, or kneel down, or whatever, get on the ground and then get back up. And then we get on the ground again in a different way and then get back up. One more time. I'm going to lay on my side. Okay, this is highly recommended. Now, you have to do it too. And now we'll add the variation that you get on the ground and then roll around. Again, in whatever way you want. It can feel very nice to kind of squish your fascia around on the floor as if it were a foam roller, but you do you. And not just your back, but it can be your front or your arms or whatever you want. Just become friends with the floor. Okay. Afterwards, we go around and we find a lot of change. So that's the main point of that exercise. Okay, so then get back in your seated position and just kind of rock around on your cushion. I like going back and forth, but also kind of in circles. You do you, but rock around, rock around, rock around. Till you find kind of a good spot on there. And then start to shake it out. Shake out your hands, especially if you've been working all day on a computer. Makes your wrists and hands really tight and really unhappy. So just shake them out, shake them out, shake them out. Elbows, elbows, shoulders, shoulders. Ow, ow, ow. And just do what you need to do to kind of feel a little like you're shaking it out. Okay. Then we'll do a nice twist. Of course, only do this if your back is allowing you to do it. And then go the other way. Come here and breathe for a minute. Tune back into your body. Just go into body sensation. Just feel what that feels like. I don't know about you, but even just a few simple things like that really wakes up the body. A lot of energy immediately. And so one of the first things we'll do from there is to do our Simhasana. Right? So take a nice deep in-breath. Ready? Okay, so for those of you who weren't ready for that, stick your tongue out and bug your eyes out and just radiate intensity and energy while making that hissing sound, which doesn't sound very much like a lion. Okay, ready? Very good. Okay, shake it out again. Okay. Now what we're going to do is a tiny bit, very mild amount, but still significant because you can feel the energy starting to go. Let's do a little bit of pranayama. We'll start out doing a very small amount of Bhastrika breath. If you know how to do that, just go. Otherwise, I will demonstrate. This is doing it slowly, okay? It's all happening with my belly. You'll notice my shoulders aren't moving, my arms aren't moving, just the belly. You go, this is the slow version. And you want the in-breath and the out-breath to be real even. You notice I'm not going like or anything like that. It's just okay. And then I'm going to have to get some Kleenex. And then if you are open to it and your body supports it, you can do a little faster, like thank you. And if you are in great shape and you do a lot of pranayama, feel free to do like. But if it's starting to make you move your shoulders a lot and your chest a lot, and it starts to get out of balance, so it's not just nice, even in-breath, out-breath, then back off. Don't do it so fast. You want it to be nice and even. Good. And then from there, we're going to switch to alternate nostril breathing. So if you know how to do that, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, if you don't know how to do that, make your hand like this. So you've got a thumb, and then your other thumb is the two middle fingers, right? And so what you're going to do is take your right hand and press against your right nostril, closing it. Breathe in. Close the left nostril. Breathe out the right. Breathe in the right. Close the right. Breathe out the left. In the left. Out the right. In the right. Out the left. Now just keep doing that. It's very easy when you're using your hand like that to get your head going way forward. I want your head to be straight up, so you're level looking forward, and your back is straight. And just feel your breathing. If you want to, you can use a mantra like Om or Hri or something while you're doing it. But just feel your breathing and notice how when we do this alternate nostril breathing, it's very, very regulating. It will start to make everything both clearer and brighter, but also smoother and more even and relaxed. So let's do this together for another minute or so. Now we started on a left nostril in-breath, so keep going till you get a left nostril out-breath, and then you can bring that to a close for now. And then just, again, tune in. Just feel your body, feel your breath. So what we want is that there's a lot of energy. You can feel a lot of uplift and prana, But at the same time, instead of that becoming jangly or intense, the alternate nostril breathing makes it very smooth and relaxed. So you're both energized and relaxed, which is already beginning to be what we want for meditation. Next, I want you to set your thinking mind aside. You don't really need it right now. We're not going to use rational thinking. That's not what this is about. It can still be there. We're not stopping it, cutting it off, suppressing it, denying it, controlling it, or anything like that. We're just setting it aside. So set it aside and come into presence. Presence just being everything that's not focusing on your thinking. So, for example, feel your breathing, notice your body, hear the room around you, see the space around you. Just come into simple, natural, easy, open presence. What remains when we're not focusing on the little iPhone screen inside our minds? Insert your beloved brand of phone in the iPhone place. Just simple presence, nothing complicated. Now from this place, we're going to do a little bit of seed syllable mantra chanting. The point is to allow the mantra to bring your attention into a nicely stable place. Right? You don't have to focus hard on it. We're staying relaxed. We're staying open. But again, even though I've encouraged you, I've invited you, I've suggested that we set the thinking aside, it's very common that we'll still be kind of fidgeting with it, playing with it. And so we're going to allow this mantra practice to help bring us into simple presence. Okay, so we're going to just do a single seed syllable together, the simplest possible level of mantra. And the seed syllable we'll use is hum. Okay, so if we were spelling this in Roman letters, it would be something like H-O-O-M. That's not really how you say it or spell it, but close enough. So we're just going to chant hum, hum. And you get to say it at whatever pitch you want and take a breath whenever you want. But we're going to do this for several minutes. And the whole point is not to, think of the super cool old recipe that your grandma had that you're excited about cooking and you're thinking about going to Whole Foods later. Nothing like that. Just rest in simple presence outside of interacting with all the thought like that, and allow the sound and the physical vibration and the energetic feel and flow of the seed syllable to continuously bring you back into presence. This is how you know you're in a cult. Now briefly switch to Hri, Hri, Very good. Now just feel that stillness and openness and presence, right? We're just simply present. We've set the thinking mind aside. It's welcome to do whatever it wants. It can be sitting over there doing backflips and pony tricks and stuff. That's fine. But we're just resting in simple, easy, open presence. So let's do that for a little while here. And what I'd like you to do is basically tune into that presence and openness and ease. Right? There really isn't any technique. You're just being present. Outside of thinking. And if you want to, just to make it a little easier for some folks, you can continue to notice in a very relaxed way the coming and going of the breath, the rising and falling of the breath. We're not focusing on it as such, just aware of it. But mainly we're involved with just being, right? Being present. That doesn't involve really doing anything at all. So we're awake, we're clear, we're open. You don't have to do anything to be open. It's just what happens when you're not focusing on thinking. Oh boy. And watching or feeling or just aware of the coming and going of the breath. Now, if your mind is particularly busy, particularly active, you can get a little more focused on the breathing. But not too much, just enough to allow yourself to stay present. Whoever's phone that is, or watch, or whatever, please put it on silent. Again, it's very common that the mind will start to be interesting and attractive, and you want to pick that thing up, but just don't. Or if you do, set it back down. This is like not eating the potato chips in the bowl. Okay? Just leave them there for now. There is no technique, right? You're just sitting in presence. There's nothing to get right or screw up. You're invited to find the openness and ease and relaxation in simply being present. But again, it's not a method. So if you're trying to do it right, that's tension and not ease, right? So just let go of that. Just be present. And to whatever extent possible, leave your thoughts alone. That's it. Notice there's a real possibility of just letting go and relaxing, finding ease and spaciousness and openness. you may find some resistance to that, usually in the form of but I just want to do something and I want to have an experience and I want to make something happen and I want to change. Okay, what we're going to change here is all of that, right? Just for now, just allow yourself to be whatever way you actually are right now. Stay awake though. If you're having trouble with sleepiness or dullness, sit up a little straighter, maybe open your eyes. You can do this meditation with your eyes open perfectly well. It's just about being present. We are, however, remaining as still as we can, not doing yoga or moving about. If you must move about, try to do it very slowly and quietly, please. Okay, good. Now, if you'd like, you can just continue doing this, sitting in simple presence, feeling your breath coming and going. It's a wonderful meditation. If you'd like to do something slightly more challenging, I invite you to feel the coming and going of emotional body sensations. So this is not thoughts about emotions, but rather the body sensations of emotions. Like tightness in your jaw from anger, or warmth in your heart from feeling a lot of love, or butterflies in your stomach from a little bit of anxiety, or whatever. And just stay present and open and easy and relaxed, and let these emotional body sensations just arise and dance for a while and then pass away without thinking anything about them at all. We're not analyzing them. We're not trying to figure out why they're there or not there. We're simply feeling them in our body while remaining present. Remember that in this way of working, body means head to your face, especially has a lot of emotional sensations in it. So about, 97% of your attention is just resting, just sitting in wakeful presence. And then a little tiny bit is just noticing this kind of continuous flow of emotion. Oftentimes it's very, very subtle. That's why it's challenging. We're usually not having giant emotions on the cushion, although we might be. But normally most people aren't. And so we're looking at little tiny ripples and twinges and the lightest touches of emotional sensation. I'm experiencing homicidal rage and toxic shame as well as despair, so it's really easy to contact all the body sensations of emotion. But for most people, it's very mild. Yet present. If you notice you're caught up in thinking, that's okay. At least you noticed. Just set it back down and come back to simple presence and a little bit of attention, just a little bit of noticing this, either your breath or the coming and going of emotion. Good. Don't get in any kind of war with thinking. We're not trying to suppress it, deny it, control it, or tear ourselves away. The more you do that, the more you're just distracted. Just keep gently setting it down. Coming back to just this, just presence, just openness. Relaxed, 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 relaxed. No hard trying. Okay. Now again, you're welcome to stay with that. Meditating on the flow of emotion can be very powerful, beautiful, and life-changing sit, especially if you do it a lot. But if you'd like to try something quite a bit more challenging, then again, resting in simple presence, natural openness, I want you to do something interesting, which is we're still disengaged from the content of thought, but now we're, instead of watching the flow of emotional activity, we're with the flow of thought activity. So you're being asked to do something kind of interesting there, which is be aware of like the humming and thrumming of the coming and going of thought without actually engaging the content. So you know how if you've got a laptop and you give it a hard calculation to do, you'll hear it and the fans go faster, and you can hear that it's working harder, and then maybe it calms down for a while and then you give it another one. So you can notice the same thing about the thinking mind, that it's revving up and calming down, and now it's kind of moving here, and now it's kind of moving there. There's stuff going on. You can be very aware of the activity without really engaging the content. But it's not easy, because typically if we put any attention on thinking, we'll instantly get sucked into the content. So give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, go back to either the emotions or the breath. But if it does work, enjoy, because it's a very deep meditation. Again, just stay relaxed, stay open. The main experience here is just ease and openness. Don't get in a struggle. If you're struggling, just back up to something easier. Very good. Now you can continue to do whatever meditation you like, or I invite you to do the hardest one of all, which is to just rest in simple presence, not doing anything. Just being present. You're not tracking anything, you're not trying to meditate, you're not trying to do it right, you're not checking if you're doing it right, you're not judging whether it's going well, you're not doing anything. You're simply awake and present. And every time the urge to do something comes up, you can feel it starting, oh, I gotta, you just relax. And if you get tricky and you find that you're doing, not doing, then stop doing that. It's not special, you're just sitting there. If you're doing something more than just sitting there, stop it. Most of us, though, when asked to just sit there, are actually kind of doing a bunch of stuff. Thinking about this, planning that, wondering, entertaining ourselves in various ways. So we're just letting go of all that. No fidget spinner. Very good. Now I kind of wish we'd just do that for another half hour, but that's not what we promised we were going to do. So let's switch back into doing a little bit of seed syllable chanting together. Let's end with the hum, just the hum, no Hri, just hum. Again, nothing's changing. You can still keep your thoughts set aside. It's not like, oh, now I get to dive into the bowl of potato chips. It's like, no, just hang out in simple presence and allow this seed syllable to come out the front of your head. Again, notice that we're still just present. Nothing really changes when we bring the meditation slowly to a close, except the idea that we were doing a formal seated practice and now we're not. But remember, at the end there, we weren't doing anything at all. So notice that this isn't some kind of special altered state. When we're done with the practice, we can still just be simply present and still just stay present without all that much effort. You don't have to dive back into the maelstrom of thought. It's there, that's fine. But we can stay wide awake, wide open, present all the time. So just notice that. Okay. In ancient South Asia, and Asia in general, the idea of karma was universal, right? That the effects of our actions play out over time. What goes around comes around, and so on. Karma literally just means action, like to take action, karma. And so it's not some kind of special universal force or balancing agent of the universe or something. It's just what you do, it's your actions, and then your actions are the seeds of future actions that come around. And so this was a big concern, and it's interesting if you look at different, let's say completely different religions, like here's Buddhism, and here's Hinduism, and here's Jainism, and here's Sikhism, and so on. The model of karma in all of those is identical. That's just a given. That's not even part of what anyone's disagreeing about. Karma is karma. Same thing with rebirth, by the way. But in any case, so there was a lot of interest in what do you do to stop having any karma? Why? Because of rebirth, right? If you get into the usual version of the full system, if you, the idea is that you can be reborn into various hells or various hell realms based on difficult actions, and eventually you die in hell and come back to earth, and then you have another chance. Or if you do a bunch of great actions, you can go to various heavens, realms, and then eventually you die there and get reborn on earth, and it just goes around and around and around. Otherwise known as the wheel of samsara, right? It's just endless getting popped into these various realities and then coming back to earth. And as a regular human on earth, you have a chance to get out of all that. And the ancient understanding was you gotta somehow stop generating any karma. But if you think about it, karma is just from taking actions. So how are you not going to take any actions? But there were people who experimented with that. There was whole groups of people who took vows of inaction and would basically stop doing anything as like a spiritual vow. So I'm just going to sit here for the next, till I die, right? Next how many years till I'm dead, and then I will generate very little karma. Okay, so they start doing that. But what would happen? What would happen after a very short amount of time? You realize, well, I'm doing less than I was doing, but I'm still eating, and I'm still drinking, and I'm still going to the bathroom, and I'm still washing at least some of the time, and I end up going to sleep and getting up, and I'm breathing, and I might accidentally squish some bugs, and I might, you end up actually doing kind of a lot. It's still way less, but it's weird, it's very hard to not do anything. And so that was pretty much given up as a way of trying to get out of the wheel of samsara. Like, well, you can't really not take action. It's good to, take on good actions and try to be as, kind as possible, of course. But you're still going to end up, you still get reborn from good actions, right? You just get reborn in heaven, and then eventually you die in heaven. So that's the terror of re-death. And how are we going to overcome that? And so it led to an interesting point, which is that what matters is not so much the actions themselves, although those do matter. It's not like you can just do whatever, but the actions themselves are not as important. What's important is noticing that no one's actually doing anything. That's weird sounding, isn't it? No one's actually doing anything. What do I mean by this? What I mean is that if you look carefully right now at who's even having this experience right now, you won't be able to find anybody. There's a body there, there's an experience there, there's definitely experience happening. But the homunculum, whatever the correct Latin is for the little being inside you that you think is doing everything, that's not actually there, right? That's a fantasy. And yet we're all kind of stuck inside that fantasy, that there's a little guy in our head who's doing everything. And if you notice clearly that that is, which is not easy, but if you notice clearly that that is completely a fantasy, then the first obvious correlation is that everything is just happening. That everything is just unfolding, right? Just like clouds are moving and waves are happening on the ocean, and the moon is circling the earth, and birds are migrating. Stuff is happening. And so this led in a really interesting, powerful way to noticing that this idea that I'm the one doing stuff is kind of the core of our problem. It's the linchpin that holds the whole system of the mind together. And in this case, I'm using the mind to mean like our kind of clinging to this little homunculus. Really the homunculus is there as a planning function, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to cross the river and I need to build a boat to cross the river. So, and then in your mind you see like planning happening, and there's a guy crossing the river, and that's me, and that's the origin of it, as a little virtual, avatar for planning. But what has happened is we've become stuck, attached to, focused on that little avatar as actually being me. Which, when you think about it, is fucking crazy. Right? It's like, what? It's just a sock puppet. And so, even if you want to throw out karma and throw out rebirth and throw out heavens and hells and throw out re-death and all that, and just none of that is real to you, fine, right? It doesn't matter. But if you check into this who is doing anything thing deeply enough, you will start to find your life radically changing in a positive direction. Because it is the attachment to pretending to be the homunculus that is causing all the difficulty. Doesn't mean you have to stop planning, obviously. And it doesn't mean thinking is bad. Thinking is good. Doing math is good. Solving problems is good. No one's saying anything about that. But being tightly and even anxiously fixated on being this little imaginary being actually causes huge problems. It's the problem. And so a big part of the meditation we were just doing is just kind of to set thinking aside and basically kind of come into presence, which really helps. But then towards the end, it's like, now notice the doing, the idea that there's a doer, and just see if you can set that down. Just even for 5 minutes. We did that for about 6 minutes. of just setting down, doing. And what most people find is that it feels like they're on fire and they want to explode. Because the habit and fixation on doing is so intense. But over time, that's normal. Okay, I'm on fire, I want to explode, but now you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, and eventually you start noticing that you can kind of let go of it a little bit. And a hint, you can still do all your worldly activities. The homunculus is not required, it just is actually getting in the way most of the time. So it doesn't mean we're trying to do the somewhat crazy thing of like, okay, I'm not going to do any activities. I'm just going to sit on my couch. Oh, wait, I better order some DoorDash. Oh, wait, I better have some money, right? It doesn't work. Instead, everything can happen. There's just no need to be fixated on an imaginary being. And no matter how smart you are and how smart you think you are and how much you think, let's say you think this is, I know I'm not a mark, come on. Well, demonstrate it. It's one thing to know it as an idea. It's another one to actually not be fixated on it. One is just like knowing anything else. The other is called liberation, right? It's radically life-changing in a very positive direction for you and everyone around you. If you go on Wikipedia, I forget how big it is now, but last time I looked, there's a page of cognitive biases. And there's about 150 of them that are named. And each one is explained. Now, let's say you read those and you understand the cognitive bias involved. Does that mean you are now free of those cognitive biases because you understand them? Hell no. You're probably worse because now you think you're free of it. So you're even more deluded, right? Just knowing it exists and even understanding it, that's helpful, but it's not the thing. And so in the same way, just knowing that you're not this imaginary being in your head isn't the same as knowing it. And so that's what the practice is about, right? We're going to eventually notice that we're not that thing. Now, we can call it funny stuff like no self, or emptiness of the sense of self, or all kinds of stuff. But it's very simple. The imaginary being in your head is not you. That's it. Doesn't mean you have to get rid of it. The planning function can still be the planning function. It can do everything it needs to do without you being fixated and trying to protect it and control it and make sure no one insults it. And it's very hard to be an imaginary being. It's really tough. So all you have to do is let go of that. He said, smirking, because that's not easy to do, but it is doable. And I guarantee the first time you see it clearly, instead of just as an idea, but he means that, and you're kind of seeing it from outside it and not being it, even a little bit, that will be maybe not like a trippy experience, but it will be it's an important big moment. And your life will start to shift for the better immediately. Usually. Sometimes it's a little too much. If it happens big all at once, it can be a little intense. Anyway, I'll shut up now about that. But it's something to investigate. Just notice when you find yourself really involved in being that sock puppet, really involved, really tense, really wrapped up in it, and just look and say, who even is this sock puppet? And look. There's nobody there. There's an experience there. It's not that you are nothing. You are wide awake, simple presence that's tremendously cognizant, tremendously alive, tremendously vibrant, but that's different than being a homunculus. So, Faiza's going to do what she does so well, which is microphone. I mean, not the only thing, of course, but microphone bringing arounding. And so if you have something you'd like to say or talk about or share or whatever, raise your hand. The two rules are, they're not even rules. The first reminder is that, there's microphones everywhere. You're going to be talking on a microphone. It's being beamed live to YouTube, which is going out to the internet, which is being slurped up by LLMs and, aliens, and will be recorded in like diamond spheres on Uranus and so on. So, just so you know. And the other one is, please be mindful of your speech. Other than that, have at it. Are you gonna manifest a sock puppet, Nina?
I've been thinking a lot about this, and in my practice, I feel like I maybe get a hint of what you're talking about. That there's no person, there's no sense of Tina when I look for it. But what I find, like in the lab, it works. In my practice, it works. But in the real world, that's where I'm getting stuck, and I really feel stuck. So what I'm finding is there'll be an interaction, and the lizard brain kicks in. And I feel like I can't find the spaciousness because I'm stuck in lizard brain.
I mean, just to be kind of a meditation dick, who is it that is stuck in this lizard brain?
And I feel like maybe I need to meditate from that place. I don't
Just
know.
look. Oh, I'm really stuck right now. Look.
But I can't even get to that point.
Okay. Then what we do is get systematic about it. So, okay, it's easy on the cushion. It's easy, in various places. Find the place that it is the least hard outside of that. So let's say the usual thing is something like doing chores.
Mm-hmm.
So you're active, you're in the world, you're doing stuff, but not very much. It's kind of mindless. And see if you can notice it there. Right? Notice, again, just to be a little more precise, it's not that there's not a sense of Tina, it's that the sense of Tina is just one of the experiences happening. Right? It's not that the sense of Tina has to go away.
Right.
It's just, that's just happening. It's not a being.
Because I feel like I'm clinging.
You are. We all are. And so on the cushion, you're noticing letting go of that, right? That's all it takes. So now just widen the circle of where you can do that into the next easiest thing and work in the next easiest thing. And then the next easiest thing after that. And it seems impossible at first, but after years you will notice, I'm in this super tense negotiation with this total asshole, and I'm triggered, and I'm being an asshole too, and everything's in, and it's just wide open. There's just nobody there in terms of that homunculus thing, and outcomes tend to be a lot better, not magically, but because when you're not so tightly focused on that, it just gets a lot easier.
Thank you.
Yep. So it's kind of there's a getting it, but then there's a just training yourself to be able to stay there in more and more situations. Okay? Yep.
Hi, Michael.
Hey,
So I'm very curious about
curiosity is awesome. I like it when people are curious.
I try to be curious in general, but one thing I don't have a difficult time being curious about is the relationship between thoughts and emotions. And maybe about halfway through the meditation, you probed us to notice our thoughts as we would our emotions. You know, like the bodily sensations of them, and I guess later you were talking, like in the talk, you were talking about like the origins of them, and you mentioned that it was more difficult to do with thoughts because thoughts tend to suck you in.
They're very sticky.
Yeah, very sticky. So I guess if I could start with like asking this in a personal way, what does it feel like for you to notice your thoughts?
I talk about it all the time, right? It's spacious and awake. And then if you notice the thought activity, when they're unfixated, nothing's crystallizing and no one's grabbing on, but they're just flowing forth. It feels like just the most natural possible thing. It's natural. It just feels like a creek in the mountains or something. Right? It's just flowing along, and it's exquisite. And actually, it starts to. It will just flow more and more smoothly. Right? It's just very, very pleasant. That's what unfixated thinking is like. It's not bound up. So when it's bound up, it's more like chunky and there's ice in it and the ice is crashing together and it's really sharp and hard. You know, that's what the normal kind of thinking feels like. But when it's unfixated, which is simply a way of saying you're not grabbing onto it, you're just letting it happen but not grabbing onto it. You're not doing that. It just gets all smooth and relaxed and flowy. And then something really weird happens where it's, like I say, I keep using this word, I can't think of a better word, it's very natural. But it has more meaning than what that word has.
I think my experience of it, and I don't know if this is a right or wrong. I don't know if this means I'm doing it wrong or if it just means that I'm experiencing it differently. But
it's got to be that you're doing it wrong.
I'm sure, yeah. But it's a little more fragmented. It's like shooting stars.
Sure.
Yeah.
True. That's another way it can show up. But
okay.
But
feel validated.
Awesome. That's my job. But nothing's impeding those shooting stars.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask you, how does it compare to noticing emotions?
Same thing, but emotions can be a lot more dense. You know, so less ephemeral, a little more. But it's the exact same. I mean, of course, the phenomenology feels a little different, but the mood is the same of just this kind of unimpeded flow. Interesting, the thing about emotions is that they are very, very transient when you're not reinforcing them with rumination. So they'll just pass in 2 or 3 minutes and then they're gone. If they're not doing that, it's because you're ruminating on them and you're re-triggering and re-triggering and re-triggering and re-triggering, which is the human condition. But if you're not re-triggering like that, then you can have a nice big blob of like disgust and shame or something, and it comes up and it's just like, okay, and then it sits there for a while and then just fades out, and no harm done.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Michael. William.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, Will. I have a question about, it's interesting, on the way over here, I was thinking about just ego and spiritual practice. And then your talk today had me thinking about it more. I'm just thinking about like the spiritual trappings of being a meditator or a spiritual person or someone who has attainments, and how to avoid spiritual practice actually more deeply entrenching the self or the ego.
Don't do that.
How?
Yeah. It's like you're saying, I'm punching myself in the face, and I'm like, don't do that. And you're like, how? Like, well, stop doing it. Okay, but just to roll with it. It is true that many people really often, use their spiritual practice to inflate their ego, right? And now I'm a better person, and now I'm better than you, and now I better wear some super cool special clothes, and, do all kinds of cool stuff that makes me better. So if you find yourself doing that, stop doing that. This is bad direction. But still it's interesting, because once we know that's happening, the usual thing is, okay, I'll stop doing that, but I'll also stop meditating, and I'll also stop trying at all, and I'll also, it's like people can only do the black and white version. And of course it's like, no, keep practicing. And maybe even practice more, but just notice where you are feeling inflated and check that out. That becomes something to meditate on and really look into, and if you've got good teachers there or good friends who are also meditators, they're busting you on that, like, hey, come on. And so you've got good feedback systems and so on, so that if it's, just making you more narcissistic and, like some kind of meditation peacock or whatever, that people are heartily laughing at you enough to bring you back down to the ground, right? But it's a sign that you're not getting it. Right? I love Trungpa Rinpoche on this. Wanting the ego to get enlightened is like wanting to be present at your own funeral, right? It's just not going to happen. The sock puppet doesn't even exist, let alone get enlightened. And so the whole idea that I'm special and it's going to make me interesting and more powerful and more attractive and more rich, and it makes me kind of better than everyone anyway, and my compassion is better than your compassion. It is. That's all sock puppetry, right? That's the Punch and Judy meditation show. So it's like you have to be aware of that, and if you're not, get around people who help you be aware of it. Get good meditation friends and teachers and so on, because it's really important. And so it comes down to, don't do that. And if you find yourself doing it, stop doing it. The one thing I'll say, though, is that, again, people then try to prematurely optimize and are like, therefore, even meditation is an ego activity and I should stop meditating. And it's like, no, keep meditating. Even if it makes you a little prideful, even if you are kind of snotty about the fact that, you're a vegan and meditator or whatever. It's like, it's still worth doing. And you can save some of these egoic features till the end to let go of, but keep your practice.
Okay, thank you. I'll go home and throw away my tie-dye parachute pants.
I'll buy them off you. I love vegans, by the way. I'm not busting anyone in particular. Hi.
Hi, Mike.
Michael. So my question is,
What is your name again?
my name is Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Yeah. The more I practice meditation, I often find myself experiencing what we call like maybe spiritual urgency, where it feels so good, and you just want to meditate more, and it feels like being enlightened is more and more important, and everything else in life I get like more detached from it. Because
Yeah.
like, oh, it's just material stuff. Like, who cares about jobs or relationships or like because you identify less with it. And and then some of my friends say, oh, that's because you're doing too much like Vipassana, and that's renunciative, and there's other kinds of meditations that are healthier, make you more engaged with the world. And I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts around how do you decide like what's kind of healthy, and how the practice can affect how much you feel like the spiritual urgency versus still
It's a
wanting
great
to do
question.
stuff?
It's a great question. I mean, no one can tell you what your life is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Only you know what your life is supposed to be. And in every other culture, everywhere, all over the earth, going and living in some kind of spiritual community because you feel like you're done with this is totally normal, right? It's still there in a lot of places. It was there in Europe until about 1600, right? Up until in about 1400, 1 in 8 human beings in Europe was in a monastery. 1 of every 8, right? Now a lot of those, it's not like all of those were living their best life or whatever, but I'm just saying that used to be a normal thing to do. Because it can just be the case that you're like, well, this all just seems stupid to me. What I want to do is go sing to God or whatever. That feels good. And so I would just say, if that's, really what you want to do, go do it. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. I mean, maybe you want to do that a couple of days a week, and the rest of the time have a job, or who knows, right? But the idea that, oh, it's not healthy and you need to be more involved, it's like, who says that someone who's singing the Psalms all day isn't involved in the world? I mean, they might be more present than anybody else. So I just feel like there's a whole kind of judgmental thing around that is just uninformed. Right? It's like, this is a thing that happens to people, or that a way some people come into the world, or whatever, where it's just like, this is what I'm going to do now. Sometimes it just happens for a while. Like, you can get hit with some insight. One time I got hit with some insight, and I just basically lived like a monk for like 4 years, totally. That was just the only thing where I still actually went to work and had a job and stuff, but every minute I wasn't at work, I was just home meditating and chanting, and that's what felt right. And so what? Who is that hurting? It's like, that's what felt good. And then when it was time to re-engage, the gears re-engaged. So I would just say, do whatever you want. And fuck everybody else's opinion, it's your life. But at the same time, you may find that, oh, I threw everything away and went to an ashram. I burned all my possessions and went to an ashram. And after a couple of years, I realized everyone in there was crazy, and they're just backstabbing, lying idiots, and they're all more neurotic than everybody else, and I can't stand it. This isn't what I was looking for, and you might try something else. That can happen too, right? In fact, it probably would happen. So, I'm serious. So, But it doesn't. That still doesn't mean that your deal might not be sort of more about inner than outer. It's just try it out.
Okay, so you're saying I don't need to be so concerned about, is what's happening to me healthy, or am I doing the right practice? I can just, whatever happens, happens.
I maybe that's a little too loose. I mean, sure, if it's important to if a truck keeps running over your foot, you want to move your foot. So I'm not saying don't be concerned with what's happening to you, but if you're feeling, what I'm hearing is you're feeling the urge to sort of like kind of go more inward and do more practices, great. Follow your star, see what happens. Okay, Mary?
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Hey, Michael. I just had a question about.
Hey, we were done, man.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's what okay meant.
I experienced the emotions when I was meditating as different colors kind of flowing like water. And it was quite beautiful, but every time I would notice that whole, like the pictures that I was visualizing would disappear, and I find myself trying to regain that. And I'm wondering if it just comes with practice, like being in that state longer, because every time I notice it, it kind of disappears, and then I'm chasing that same feeling throughout the meditation. And I'm just wondering if practice makes that.
Makes emotions flow like colors.
I guess.
Yeah, if that's not like supposed to happen necessarily, right? You're just present with your feelings. If the flow of colors is happening, fine, but don't worry about it. Don't try to get it back in any way. Okay? It's not. That's mental images arising in conjunction with feelings. And so we're not chasing that at all. That's not important.
Thank you.
Okay? That's it. Thank you, Faiza. I deeply appreciate it, as always. Now, as promised, we will do 5 minutes of absolutely silent, motionless meditation. Don't even breathe. Just hold your breath. And let's see how it goes. Okay. Thanks for joining me tonight for meditation. Couple quick announcements. Remember, Saturday is the super fun art integration thing led by Christina Lazar, who also happens to be married to me. She's awesome. If you want to come and like make a tarot card about your last meditation, that kind of thing, it's super fun and actually kind of deep and interesting always. She's working with This Jungian Life on their dream school, and helping people to make images of their dreams and stuff. It's just powerful. So this is art as integration, whether it's psychedelic integration or meditation integration or trauma integration or whatever. Just come and, melt some crayons on a sheet of paper or whatever. You'll have a blast. So that's happening. If you want to get involved in my sort of online school, the first class that gets you involved, called Hacking the Stack, is starting Monday. Is it the 26th? Whatever that Monday is, Monday the 26th. Happens in the morning because the last time I offered it, I did it in the evening, and so all the folks in Europe were freaking out and wanting a Europe-friendly time, so we made a Europe-friendly time. So it happens, I believe, at 8:30 in the morning on Mondays. But if you're interested, that's available for sign-up still for another 10 days or so, 11 days. So there's that. Other than that, remember that we've got the debut, the premiere of the new tea lounge that happens after this meditation. So that's out there. That should be really, really like high quality, delicious tea and so on, and even higher quality conversation with those around you. Feel free to get these cushions over there very neatly, put everything away. And I am looking forward to seeing all of you next week. So come on back. See you then.